last thoughts or comments or anything like that before we wrap this up? Go ahead.
I think you guys are great doing something like this. This is fantastic.
Thanks.
I really do.
I also want to let you guys know, if you really want to read a good book that is directed towards white privilege and teaches you about white privilege, this book, White Like Me, is a story. It's not really a story. It's more of like, it's reflections on a race from a privileged son. It's by Tim Weiss. Kick-ass book. Especially if you're white, it's a good kick in the ass, and it helps you see your privilege when you're white. And I totally recommend going and getting this book and reading it. It's also Diane Olner. She teaches it for Women's Studies 220, the race class, gender and sexuality class. She makes you read this book as one of her books to read. It's an awesome book.
I would come in. There's also a book that's called Black Like Me, and it's just about this white man, and he goes under surgery to get his skin changed to black, and he goes and he endures the trials and tribulations that African Americans do down south back in like 1960s, and it's called Black Like Me. It's just kind of like that. It will show you also how blacks are treated, and he's really a white man, and it shows like once he goes back to his society how he's mistreated because he turned himself black as well.
Did you guys ever see that reality show that they had for a very, very short time where there was a family that they actually colored their skin? It was really short-lived, but it was just bizarre how they, when they went to do things and they were noticing things, and it was funny how it didn't last very long, though. I never can understand why it didn't.
It was the truth.
Yeah, it was. Truth hurts.
And then a good movie about racial profiling. We just actually watched this in my sociology class. It's called Crash. If you haven't seen it already, I recommend you go see it. Kishwani, did you want to say something?
I did. I wanted to just say something about the Black Like Me. That's a book from, I think, I just Googled it because I couldn't remember the date. So I won't pretend that I actually just knew it off the top of my head. But it's Howard Griffin, and it's 1961. But I think that's really an interesting project, because why is it that we need a white man to dress up like a black guy so that he can tell us discrimination is real? Like, why don't we just listen to all of the black men out there who tell us, this is what I experience every day?
Because then they're
right?
race
Why do we, right, because we can't talk about race without being biased.
And that goes to white privilege.
Right.
Because you only believe a white person. A lot of people think that.
So Black Like Me is a good book, but, you know, pick up a book by a person of color if you want to know what people of color experience.
Yeah, but for also white people's experience with privilege is also important too. So that's why I also recommend White Like Me. All right, well, thank you guys for being
Hold
here.
on, you had a question.
Oh yeah, I just had a comment. In two of my, actually a women's studies class and a sociology class, we watched this film called The Color of Fear. It's a pretty popular film in a lot of classes. And it's a short documentary, but you see both perspectives in one situation. And it's a really emotional, like, it'll get to you. It pulls on your heartstrings. Like, it's very effective in, like, seeing white, like, privilege as a white problem, or not just racism as a colored person's problem.
And it's Color of Fear.
Yeah, The Color of Fear. I don't remember who it's by.
That sounds good already.
Yeah, you too.
Alright, I guess we really do need to cut this out at the moment, so be sure to tune in on all our shows, or on the web address on the board, and please tune to try to find us. We'll try to get a hold of you for our next episode. It should be really needed. So.
If anything, the best way is to leave us a comment or a message on our link, and